Hi, this is Kim. Welcome to my channel. I'd just like to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone, to all my subscribers. As of about a week and a half ago, I'm at 1,000 subscribers to this channel, which just blows my mind completely. When I started out, I really didn't have any idea how well it would do. So I hope it continues to grow in the future. And I hope that is a good outlook on what the future of sewing is. I hope that many people are interested in watching about sewing, and I know there's many more of my sewing vlog sisters and brothers out there that have way more subscribers than that. But the fact that a little channel like mine can grow that quickly means that people are interested in sewing, which is to me just wonderful, because one of my passions is that this does not become a lost art. Our mothers taught us in my generation, but there's a whole generation that never grew up with a mom teaching them to sew. So I take that very seriously and hope that what we do here on this channel will perpetuate the legacy of sewing. So that's really my heartfelt thing. So to celebrate being at 1,000 subscribers, I want to do a giveaway. So there will be details on the giveaway at the end of this video, and I will tell you how to enter. And so stay tuned. Right at the end of the content of this video, I will have a short clip to tell you how to enter the giveaway. All right? So today what I want to talk about is, if I was on a desert island with my sewing machine and an endless fabric stash, because obviously fabric has to be something we need, but what would be my 10, other than my sewing machines and those kind of things, what would be my 10 products I would not want to be without? And that, I can think that answer could be influenced by the day, but I had to really give some thought to it. So I did come up with 10 things, as I will put links into everything in the description below if you're interested. I do have affiliate links in my descriptions, and that basically affiliate links are just if you purchase an item through the links that I provide, I get a little bit of the profit, which goes into making this channel better. So because it does involve some cost to buy fabric, and I'll twist my arm, right? but there are costs that go along with producing videos like this week to week. So that will definitely help this channel grow if you use those affiliate links. So just a word on that, just be upfront about that in my videos you will find affiliate links, and you certainly do not need to use them, but if you do, it's much appreciated. Okay, so my top 10 things, I'm going to go from, this is no particular order, okay, because I really didn't think about what number 1 or number 10 would be. This is just 10 things I would not want to do without. So the first thing is handy dandy, almost multi-purpose, almost all-purpose really, SF101 interfacing. It's made by Pellon. I buy it usually by the bolt, although I'm kind of out of it right now, so I need to buy some. But it is lightweight. It's woven, so it's gonna wear like your clothes do. It's fabric. It's fusible. It makes collars so nice and crisp, and it's my favorite interfacing. There are others that have special uses, but this is my go-to when it doesn't specify a certain type, like it's not for a bag like the Craft Fuse and those kind of things. This is my go-to interfacing. So this is something I would not want to disappear out of my stash. And there are many different types of interfacing, but that's my favorite when it comes to just all-purpose. So if as I'm saying this, I'm wondering, would a video on different types of interfacing and when to use them, would that be helpful? Please put in the comments if that would be helpful to you, and maybe I'll film a whole video on the different types and when to use them. So the second thing that I would not, it's actually two products, but I use them kind of almost interchangeably, and it would be either Wonder Tape, which is, I don't have any at the moment to show you, but it's, because I use either or, but it's like a basting tape that goes away in the wash. It washes away, and it's like a quarter-inch thick, and very, very handy. So, or I use this Steam-A-Seam, which does a similar thing, except that you can make this one permanent. You don't have to, but if you iron it, it then becomes permanent. So it's just basically tape that you can stick on. That this one is like fusible. So this is really nice for like basting hems, and then you can just press them into place. But really, really nice for turning over necklines when you don't have a binding. It's a sticky here, and then the tape just pulls off, and you're left with just the sticky fusible part, and then if you iron it, it becomes permanent. The Wonder Tape is not fusible, it's not permanent, but it's the same kind of thing, same width, looks almost the same, and it's just basically, this is really handy. The Wonder Tape especially is handy for zippers, to baste them in place. This is handy for hems, wherever you need to turn something over. I like to use it in like really, really narrow hems. Sometimes this gives it just something, it gives your sewing machine something to just kind of bite into, especially like in a really sheer or really lightweight fabric. Or it's really nice for knits as well. So Steam-A-Seam or Wonder Tape, that would be my number 2, or no particular order, but that would be on my list of 10. The next thing I want to talk about is my iron. I know, an iron is an iron, but not really. This is Rowenta. I've been using Rowenta irons forever. I don't have this one turned on, but they are wonderful steam. The steam that you get from them is just very powerful, and you can really make a fabric behave. You can make that fabric come into submission with this iron. So a good iron is a totally indispensable tool for sewing. If you don't have a good iron, stop sewing right now and go buy one, because it will make the world of difference. Pressing is, by and large, pressing is key to success in sewing. The next thing that I use and can barely do without is my curved ruler. When you're blending sizes in patterns, or you're drawing a new draft, let's say like I'm making jeans, and I had to lower the waistline in the front to accommodate my short front rise. So I had to draw a new waistband in, and it's curved. So it's very hard to do if all you have is a straight ruler. So you can put this at whatever point you need to, depending on how much curve you want, and you can get just a beautiful curve. And I use this almost every time I make something, because I have a weird body and I have to make all these adjustments. This is indispensable. The next thing that I enjoy using, there are certainly many marking tools out there. There's the water-soluble pens, which I would almost put up there equal with these. There's chalk pencils, there's chalk rollers, there's all kinds of marking tools. By and large, my favorite is the Frixion heat. They're Frixion pens, so that they disappear with heat or friction. So you have like a little eraser type thing here that you can go back and forth like this to erase the line too. Isn't quite as effective as using the heat, but you can mark like darts, sew them, and then as soon as you iron the dart out, your mark's gone. So I recommend testing this. I've had only one occasion where it didn't really come out the way I thought it should. but it still didn't ruin the fabric because it was on the wrong side anyway. But these are wonderful. So you definitely, this is an indispensable item. Number 6 is fusible thread. And you're all like going, for what? And I'll tell you. What I do, I have a serger, and I actually think you could do this with a regular machine too, and I'll explain in a minute. So on my serger, sometimes if I want a really, really quick hem, especially on a knit, and this works really well with knits that are like circle skirts where the hem is curved and you just want a narrow hem. So what I'll do is I will serge the hem with the like on the wrong side. Okay, so the upper thread will be on the wrong side, and I will put fusible thread in the upper looper of my serger. Now the upper looper puts the thread that goes back and forth like this on top. So what you have then is a fusible surface that is on top all the way around. So you can then just iron your hem into place. And it's really great, like again with rounded hems. It's wonderful because you can just turn up just that serged amount, and it's usually about 1/4 of an inch by the time you do that, and just wonderful. Now on a regular sewing machine, I have not done this. Maybe I'll try it and report back to you, but I think you could probably use this as your top thread and sew on the wrong side, and then flip it up and fuse it down. Fantastic product. A little bit hard to find. Guterman's makes one that is usually in the store. This one is YLI brand, and I buy it on Amazon, and it's very inexpensive. I'm never without it. I always have a spare whenever the one runs out. So because I order it, I like to have a spare. So when I'm sewing Christmas jammies and I just need to do all these hems on these little shirts, because I do Christmas jammies for all 6 of my grandkids, and I'm doing 6 little jammy tops, and I just want them hemmed quickly. I'll just run a serger around all of them with fusible thread in the upper looper, and just go over to my ironing board and sew them up and move on to the next step. It is fantastic. Rotary cutter. Almost goes without saying, but I know I've talked a little bit about the virtues of having a rotary cutter before, but it's a more exact way of cutting. And I have a couple different ones. I have this one. This is 45 millimeters. This is 60, and this is 28. So I use all 3. This is for long like stretches of cutting. This is great for that. Although the blade on this one is dull right now, so I'm not using it very much. This one is the 45. This one is the workhorse of the 3. This is the one I use most often, and this one is I have designated for paper. So I use this one to cut out the pattern paper. I don't normally put it on fabric. I have a couple times when I get in small places, but a lot of times when I get in small places or where I have to turn a corner, you can't really turn a corner with the rotary cutter. So I'll just have my little, because they're not here, I'll just have my little clip scissors and just cut those places. It's easy enough to do. This is for paper for me, but I could not be without my rotary cutter mat. I used to not ever use one, and then once I got one and started using it, it's just completely made things for me so much accurate, so much more accurate. When I would cut with scissors, I'd get sloppy because it'd be so much cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And this is precision. So it does make a difference. I don't know if I've said this before, but 1/8 of an inch is a big difference in sewing, because if you have 4 seams, or 4 pieces, 2 seams, 4 pieces of fabric, and you're off by 1/8 of an inch, that makes your garment off by 1/2 an inch. And 1/2 an inch is a lot if it's a, if it could mean whether something's too tight or not. So it's much more precision with the rotary cutter. It's also great for knits, because if you lift a knit up and use scissors, you're stretching just by virtue of the fact that you're lifting it up. No matter how careful you are, you're actually stretching it to cut. So the rotary cutter means that you don't have to do that. It's also good for slippery fabrics that slip around while you're cutting. That's a nightmare, like to cut organza or something like that that's sliding around, especially like the shiny kind. I know when I was making a lot of doll clothes, and I was making all those Disney princesses, which I showed you in another video, that fabric was just slipping all over the place without a rotary cutter. So definitely that will make your cutting much more precise. Cutting tools are just another thing. All the cutting tools, every size of scissors, they all have their purpose. So one day I'll do a video on all the different kinds of scissors. That would be a great video. I'm going to do that. I'm not sure when, because I've got a lot of things planned ahead, but at some point I will do that as a video, because there's a lot of great types of scissors that have purpose. And a lot of times you look at a pair of scissors and wonder, what would I use that for? So I can maybe do that. My seam ripper. Okay, so your seam ripper is not always because you made a mistake. Remember, we used the seam ripper to take the elastic out after putting in a sleeve on that video that I did a few weeks ago on inserting a set-in sleeve with clear elastic. That was very necessary then. So it does not always symbolize a mistake. It also, you have to remove basting thread sometimes. But when you do have to rip something out, it is huge to have a good seam ripper. The one with your machine, that came with your machine, is probably not the top-notch seam ripper. So I bought this one from a scissor company that was at an expo, the Scissor Man, which I think I have talked about him before. This is a really great seam ripper. One of the things you want to look at on a seam ripper is this little ball here. Let me get this close to the camera so you can see. This little ball, you can put that down in between a seam at the bottom, so that when you go like this, you don't have any danger of ripping the fabric. And so that having that little ball makes a huge difference. So make sure whatever seam ripper that you buy, it has that, because that's what it's there for, is to keep you from ripping through the fabric. Fantastic seam ripper. And I know that's like to get excited about this little teeny thing, but if I had to do that with a pair of scissors and a pin or something, oh yeah, nah, I wouldn't want to do that. So that was number 8 of my top 10 things. And moving on to number 9 would be SewKeys-E. Now SewKeys-E is sold by Emma Seabrook, and she's a wonderful speaker at sewing conventions, and she has a lot of patterns and different products for sewing. So SewKeys-E is a knit stay tape. So what it is, this is a fusible, like, interfacing, but it's in it's knit, so it stretches, and you can use this to stabilize your hems and your knits. And I use this a lot of times when I, for instance, have a double poly, which is like super stretchy and sort of thin. I'll use this on the hem to give the hem some body, so that it falls really nice away from your body. It's just a fantastic product. It gives, when you do a hem with this on it, it gives your machine something to bite into and just makes the process of doing a hem just that much greater. They make these in all different widths. You can get 1/4 inch, I think even 1/8 maybe, I don't know. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. This is 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch. Probably what I sometimes do is just cut the 1 inch in half if I need 1/2 inch. But they're $9 and 25 yards, and 25 yards doesn't last a real long time, but it will make a huge difference if you have a project where you just need some body in the hem. This is a great product. And I am not, in all these things, none of these products are something that I'm being sponsored by. This is just my opinion. So I have no relationship with these companies other than there might be affiliate links, but they're normally, I think most of these are through Amazon, so there's no reason for me to present a biased opinion to you. None of this is sponsored by anybody. Okay, so finally that brings us to number 10, and that is my Ottlite. Now the Ottlite is it's a daylight balanced LED, and there's always that time in sewing where you just need, man, I just wish I could get a little more light. And this is a flexible arm, and so it is just really easy to get the light right where you need it. I'm oftentimes pulling that down, especially around by my serger or around by my sewing machine, or sometimes if I'm just sitting, maybe I'm ripping out something that's like navy blue or black or something with black thread, and you just really have to be able to see. So I'll just swing it down over what I'm doing, and it just makes the world of difference. They're not inexpensive, but I think every sewing machine should have one. There are some Ottlite is a brand. There are other brands, but just a daylight balanced sewing light is just something that once you have one, you'll never want to be without. So that was my 10 Desert Island products. So let me just leave you with one more product that I like and has nothing to do with sewing, and that is my Bluetooth headphones. So I like to listen to books when I'm sewing sometimes, or podcasts, or sometimes sermons if I've missed church for some reason, or Bible studies, or there's any number of things. But I like to keep, I like to just have something going as I'm sewing. And the really nice part about using headphones is that, some of our machines are loud. So like if I'm serging or if I'm using the sewing machine, if I was listening to it on an external speaker, I wouldn't hear it because it would, the sound of the sewing machine or the serger would drown it out. And I was getting frustrated because I love World War II books. And so I was listening to a historical fiction book, and I would miss parts because of when the sewing machine was loud. So I got these Bluetooth headphones, and they're amazing. And because they're Bluetooth, they're wireless, so they just go around my neck and in my ears, and I can walk around. There's no wires to get in my way, and they're amazing. I also use them once in a while to listen to music while I sew. I use them on the airplane, of course, or anytime when you want to have some personal listening. They're wonderful, and the ones I have are very inexpensive. They're not the top, but they're not horrible, and they suit my purposes just fine. I love to also use them to listen to the Beatles channel on Sirius XM, which, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a huge Beatles fan. So, yeah. I have well, that's a rabbit trail, but let's just say I've been in love with Paul McCartney since I was 7. So I love to listen to certain programs on the Beatles channel on Sirius XM, and I can do that through my phone and just have Bluetooth headphones on, and it works out, you know, really well. So that's just and also because they're Bluetooth and it's through my phone, I'm able to not miss any calls at the same time. So if a call comes through, it's not like I'm in happy land with my headphones and not hearing the phone. So sometimes it's good to not hear the phone, but if you're home by yourself and your husband's trying to get a hold of you, it's good to hear the phone. So anyway, those are my top 10 products plus 11 that doesn't have anything to do with, a little bonus that doesn't have anything to do with sewing. What are your favorite products? Post them in the comments below. I'm sure I'm missing some, and I'm sure this list could be way, way longer than it was, but I thought I'd stick to 10, and that was really hard to do, but those are things that I just would never want to be without. With that, I'll just say happy sewing, and stay tuned for a moment, and I'll tell you about the giveaway. Hey there, I'm popping back in to tell you a little bit about our giveaway. Today's a very busy sewing day for me. I'm going to give you a little quick sneak peek of a project. These are my jean pockets. I'm doing some jeans for my next Minerva Crafts blog, so stay tuned for more on these. They're the Tessa jeans from Seymour, in case you're wondering. Well, anyway, what you really want to hear about is the giveaway. So, on reaching 1,000 subscribers, I reached out to my favorite companies and asked them if they would care to sponsor a giveaway. So I have a couple fantastic prizes. Who knows, we might even add some more by Friday. But as of now, the giveaway will include a pattern of your choice from Itch to Stitch and a box of haberdashery from Minerva Crafts. And that would be valued at 50 pounds, which is about $60. And they did say they would ship it worldwide. So it's open to everyone, everywhere. And Itch to Stitch, I'm going to have more on them. You've heard me talk about them before. Wonderful pattern company. They include cup sizes with their patterns. She's a fabulous designer and a wonderful person. Just a shout out to them, and also a shout out to Minerva Crafts. I do not know a company that's more generous with their policies and giveaways, and I'm on their maker team, and I'm very proud to be part of their team. I will say that it's hard to beat their cost of shipping. Even shipping from the UK to the US, they only charge 4.99 pounds, which right now is about $6. And it's hard to find a US company that will ship for that. So don't be scared off by the fact that they're in the UK if you're in the US, because they ship. And everything I've gotten from them has been absolutely wonderful. And I'm very proud to be part of their maker team. So with that, watch Friday's video for what I want you to answer in the comments. There will be a question, and that will enter you into the giveaway drawing. And I will use a random generator. I'll number the entries and then use a random generator to pick the winner. So I hope that you have good luck, and I'll see you all on Friday.